just welcome to our session. It's a nice time that we are going to be looking at our programming tips, maybe at a piece of each and every week. So today, guys, we want to start it afresh. This will be favorable for beginners and also for the expert, maybe to look at something they can learn to do away with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript inside. So upon this, I will be starting from scratch, that is from something new. To those who are not quite familiar with HTML, just walk through with it and maybe learn something and get something about it. So feel welcome, just enjoy it, just comment and subscribe there of anything that you may want us to do or maybe to improve on about this video so that I can be of help to you. You can also learn through as you do the platform. Make sure you follow up so you are welcomed in our class. So I will just start by opening up my folder. I've created a fresh folder. That is a folder in my desktop. I've called it calculator because today we are looking at creating a calculator. So you can see in my screen I've got a folder. I've named it just calculator. So I'm going to open this folder through my text editor, which is VS Code, So I'll just come up here to the menu, just go to the file, then I will open a folder. So I'll go and just open that folder in my desktop so that I can start afresh with it, of how to go about it. So I will just come, select it's in my desktop, and select calculator. Yeah, you can see it, select it, then open it with a VS Code. That's my text editor that I'm using currently or for now for our lesson. Let's wait. So it's opening up. So yeah, it is. Then I have to agree to several terms in the VS Code. So yeah, it is. So I will just start by creating. a file. My first file will be index or calculator. Let's call it calculator.html. Calculator.html because we are creating a calculator. Then after I'm through with that one, I'll create another one which will be style.css. I will use this one to style our calculator which we are working on currently. Style.css. Then I will create another one which is the calculator.js. This one will be for JavaScript. This one will be for JavaScript maybe. Let's wait and see. So I love calculator. .js. This one is for JavaScript. Then I have to remain the CSS style because I didn't run the .css extension so that it can be more nice. So just rename it to style.css to run the extension. So just come and rename it. Come and rename it. Maybe use F2. So here it is. I can do away with this one. I can delete this one. I can do away with it. Yes, move to recycle bin. Then I will start immediately. We will start with our HTML. And see how it works. So I will just have come and implement the HTML syntax. The first note. just implement them, and then I will give this one our title. Our title will be simple. Our title will be simple. It will be a calculator. A calculator. A calculator. Then I'll continue adding up the links. So I have to link our CSS. I have to link our CSS. So this will be style.css. Yeah. Then I have to add on something, the type. So on the type I will include the type will include the text / CSS. And then I will also link my JavaScript. So I will use the script source. I'll use the script source. Then I will link my calculator.js. Calculator.js. So that's linking our JavaScript in our code. So I will start immediately. I will just come and start by creating a div, a container. I'll just create a container. Then this container, I'll name it just, I'll give it an ID. Which is main. This is our main container. Then inside this container, I will just come and create another container inside. So this container will carry the text input field. So I will just name it. This one will bring the screen of a calculator. So maybe I give it an ID of a screen, because this one will give us the screen of our calculator. So inside that container, I will just come and create an input. I will create an input because after all, we need an input for the screen of our calculator. Then this input, maybe I will give it an ID also. Let's give it an ID. Let's call it a field. Maybe a field will be more nice. So at least we can check at what we have. We just go live. And check what we have. So for the start, we can check on what we have. Let's see if our input field has appeared. Let's wait to check on our browser and see what we are trying to create or what we are trying to do. Yeah, here it is. So you can see we got that input field that I'm talking about. Here it is. So that the input field. So I will just go immediately through styling our calculator through and seeing what happens. So I will just come to my styles. I will have to style the body. Body, maybe give it a background. Background color. Let's give it black one so that we can easily check on our input field, because they may also come white in color. Then I will come just to the input. There's an area that we give. There's the container that we give an ID of a main. So I will just come and look at it. So we have this container that we gave it an ID of main. So I will also style it on my keys. So I will just use the hashtag, then the main. Then onto this one, hashtag main, I will just give it also maybe a section, maybe a background color. Then this one I have to use the linear gradient. Background color, I'll use linear gradient. Then I will give it so just to check on linear gradient colors, we just go to the Google. And search for linear gradient. Linear gradient. Just go to Google and check for linear gradient. Linear gradient colors. So this one will direct us on how to get good colors, a mixture of colors for our keys. Maybe let it to, as it goes on, I have to check on something else. Yeah, CSS gradients. No. Okay, allow me to do away with this one. Let's check on a color gradient. Color gradients. So this one will direct as well. So as that goes on, I will just come to the CSS again. So we have this area where we got an input field. We gave it the container. We gave it a name. So the container of our input field, in this case, we give it an ID of field. So just I will be styling it as we wait for the gradient of colors maybe to go on. So I will just come, and then style up the ID. We just come and style up the ID. Just come and style it up. In this case, so this one was a field. The name was field. Oh, wow. Then maybe I'll give it some height. And wing height. Let me give it a height of not a pixels. We will be checking of it how it works. Then I'll give it a wing. I'll land on it a wing. Let me give it a wing of 20px. So I will check on it and see the reflection that it has brought as we check on so Control S for saving. So as we check on what happens onto our color gradient in this case. So we just go and try to refresh. So you can see what happened. So I'll just come and minimize something on height and just turn on wing. I'll give it a wing of maybe let me give it according to percentages and give it 80% wing. 80% wing. And see what happens. 80% wing. So you can see it's quite large, but we shall work on it. So on that case, so I think our color gradient, we just try to check what it gives us. So here it is. So let's browse on color gradients. We want to get the gradient of our colors in this case, and how to use them, and how to combine them, because we want after all to combine our colors together. Our color gradients, we are checking on our color gradients. So on color gradients, in our case, go to it. Let's just continue. So I will also give a border radius. So just continue styling up as we wait for the color gradient to go to login. So I'll just give a border radius that a 20 pixels one, or maybe a 10 pixels one, a 10 pixel. Then I'll just continue and give it some value to margin top and margin bottom, maybe margin left. So margin left, margin on the left, margin left, maybe margin left. On this case, I will give it a margin left of let's say 10 pixels also, 10 pixels in our case. I'll just continue and give it a margin top, a margin top, a margin top in our case. So margin top maybe, or just insert onto it maybe a 20 pixels one, and try to see how it reflects in our case, how it's working on. So we can check in our browser, so you can see well. So maybe just to play around with some margin, this is let's say margin left, so that we can try to push it on a little bit on this side and try to jog around with maybe at this case we can try to jog around with also the wings and minimize the wings in this case. So I'll just come a wing of 80%, maybe give it a wing of 60%, and then just to deal with it, just a margin left, I may hang something let's say 20 pixels. And then at this case now, as we wait for the color gradient, I think I can just insert a color to frame for us, just something that we want. Then allow me to give this a border, but before that we can just come and insert something before we come to styling it and see how it happens. Then I'll just come and create, let me continue, just come and create the input field, maybe at an extent as we wait for it to load. I want to create the input field, so I'll just create another div, just another div. Then this is a container, then I call it I just give it a class, a class, and then you give it a class of a button, btn, and then inside this I just come and I create another section. I will just create another div inside the buttons field. I'll just create another container. This container will carry on the buttons and giving them the click functions in this case. So this one, I will just give it a class. This one will work in rows. So remember, it's a calculator that we are creating. So this one will work in rows. Then inside it, I'll just create a button. In my case, I'll just create a button. Then inside this button, I'll just have to give it some click function. So on click, we need to on-click this button. So after we click this button, we want some effect. We want some effect inside this button. So on click on the button, and then it gives us some functions. So I will just in this case copy and paste the same. Copy and paste the same, because we want several of them at our instance, maybe four according to the subdivision of our calculator. And then at this case, I will just come and copy the same case again. I will just copy the same case again. So copy. Then I will go because I need it in 4 instances. So that 1, 2, 3. So I believe with that it's okay. And then I will just do away with this one, because this one will first carry the first phase of our calculator. So this one will just carry the C part. So just I'll do away with this one. So then I remains with one part, then the rest of others follows. So maybe we check on our color gradients, because we also need it so that we can have a difference in what we are doing. So we need to have a difference in what we are doing. So at this case, I need a combination of colors. Let me say I need this one. I just have to copy the code. Let me see what happens. So I need this code, and maybe we can do with this one. So I will just that one is copied. Also I need this one copied. So let me come to a color gradient and try to look about with that, because after all we need this main container that we created and see how it functions and how it works. So I'll just come and I have an hashtag. No, not, I need to be inside the bracket, then a hashtag, then I paste my color. So let's see it brought for me, and I need a combination of two maybe. Let me look around with this. So I need a search combination. Yeah, this one works well. More shiny one. Then I'll give some spacing. Then I need also another color. This one should be I think to with this area. I need such kind of blue. Yeah, this one can work well. Then I'll give also some spacing because I need to hand on something else. Then I use the hashtag also, because I need to have a certain color. I need a combination of colors, so they will be comma here so that our color can work at this distance. So with this one I will come and select, I need a dull color. Not there. I think this one will work well. This combination will work well in our case. So let's just save and try to reflect on this container that we are talking about, this container that we are creating. So maybe refresh our page in our case and see if it functions. So I'll come and check again. We have not saved the HTML part. We have not saved the HTML part for it to reflect on our changes in this case. So you can see the buttons have already started appearing, but this container we need to check on it and see the secret behind. So it's a container. Let me check on my styling. So hashtag main, one that we're dealing with. So that's nice. Then the container is main. Maybe we can check again. Background color is arena gradients, yes. Maybe try to save and see what happens. Maybe let me give it a margin, let me give it some border and see. Let me give it some border. I need a border over, let's say, let's work with the 2 pixels. Then let's insert yellow color. Then let's use a color yellow so that we can try to view where maybe this one is coming from. Maybe we can save our code. Yeah, we can save our code. Then I have to deal with something else. I have to give it okay, let me give it also some margin left, so that we can view it well. We'll give it also some margin left so that we can check it well. A margin left of maybe this is a 40 pixels, so that at least it can move at the middle of our screen. Right, at least it can move at the middle of our screen. Then maybe Ctrl S for saving and try to view what's happening, or if there's any difference. Yeah, so it appeared. So I will just try to reshape away with this so that maybe we can have a nice structure now, seeing what we are doing. So I will just give it a height and width, maybe a height. So for the height, let me deal with around let's say 250 pixels. Then we just deal with the wing. So the height, let me deal with not just 300 will be okay. 300 at our keys. Then the wing, let's give it a wing of a width over 350 pixels, a width over 250, sorry, 250, so that we can see how it reflects. And the same case, so we can try. Let's check on our case if there is any change. Let's check on our case. Yeah, it's almost modeling to the real thing that we want. So I will also give it a larger margin left, because I just need it at the mid row of our screen. I need it at the mid row of our screen. So I need it at the mid row of our screen. So margin left, I'll add some pixels. Maybe let's give it a 60 pixels and see what happens if it moves to the area that we want. Then allow me also to add some border radius onto it, because we want something that seems like a real calculator in our case, what we are creating. So allow me to do with a border radius in our case, some border radius. Let me give it a border radius of 10 pixels. 10 pixels. Then I can add on something. Let me say, and on the border pixels, let me add them up to 6 in our case, so that we can at least see something that's happening and try to take in. So you can see in our case, something is moving. Maybe I give it a margin top and a hand also on margin left, well, so that margin left in our case, let me give it a 200 pixels and see if it will move us to the point that we want. Then on margin top, let me do something on the margin top, because we want it at the mid row. We don't want it to lie at the top of our body. So also this one I'll do with it well, 40 big pixels, and try to check if it's moving. If yeah, it's moving in our case. Then also we got also to move it well, slowly by slowly. We got also to move it well to up to where we want. So on our margin left, I want to push it left once. I have to push it maybe at 3 times as it was, so 600 pixels, 3 times as it was. So maybe it was at 200. In my case, let me move it at 3 times. Yes, you can see now it's at the center. So maybe add something. Maybe in this case, let me add something on our height, on our let me call it a 350 pixels. In this case, 350 will do well, not much. 350 will do well, not much. So you can see now we got something. Then we got the main screen. Now let me work on it. Let me add also some wing onto it. The main screen, we need to add something on it so that it can be clear. So we call it in this case we call it the field area, the area that we'll be playing with. That's where each and everything that we key on will be reflecting. So in this case, I will land on the wing. I'll give it 80% wing in my case, and try to save and see. I've not saved my code in this case. I will give it 80%. I will give it 80% wing. Yeah, you see, it's at the mid row of things. So at least we are making a movie. Now it's a case that now we want to deal with our buttons and how they will function and how they will work as well. So in this case, I'm going to deal with our buttons. As well, so that they can look well. So I'll just come back to my HTML. I'm not through with creating the buttons. So I'll give them some JavaScript function. In my case, I'll give them some JavaScript function. Then this one, okay, this one will go for our letter. See, now we want to arrange our calculator as it froze, because in our case we have found that we have seen something on we have seen already the buttons, so we want to arrange the numbers. So we want to arrange the numbers as they start and as they flow. So in our case, just allow me to use these functions, the JavaScript function. In this case, I'll just copy, then I will paste it here also. I will paste it here. I will just paste it here again. In this case 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 again. So I want to number now. our calculator. So so that also we can style it in our case. So I'll just this is C, then we start, this is 7, this is 8, this is 9, this is 9. Then maybe we insert this one goes with a slash. So in the same case, I'll just come and insert, let's go with the function over this is 4, 5, 6. 4, 5, 6. I think I'm correct. Then I will also go with this one. Let this one go with addition. Yeah, in our case, let it go with addition. Then I will just come. So sorry, there's a mistake. Then this one will go with 5. So the same case here will go with 3. 2. Sorry, 3, 2, and 1. Then here let me go with subtraction. Subtraction, yes, subtraction. So allow me here. Let me work here with multiplication. Then also I need another input. I need another row of input in this case. Some row of input in this case. So just copy and paste. I need some other level of input. So this one. So this one will go. We got the plus. We got the minus. We got the times. So let me go with this one. Then this one will go with dot. This one will go with our 0. Yeah. In our case, this one will go with a 0. Then what about this one? No, this one will go with equals. Yeah, equals. Then let this one go with a 0. So then I have to change these attributes because this one will go with equals. This one will go with equals. Then yeah, let's first do with that one. So then I will just come to our CSS, or just come to the CSS. So you can see this one, we grouped it in one group that we call it the buttons, the button. So we just style it in a row. Okay, just come to my CSS. Just come to my CSS in this case. Then I call a class called button. We use it a class called button, so it's dot btn. .btn in this case, .btn. Yeah, then I will work around with it. So this one I will under, it also needs some height and wing. So I will work with the height and the wing inside it. Maybe a height of 20 pixels on the wing. The wing in my case, a wing of 20 by 10 pixels. Then I'll also deal with let me deal with border radius. Border radius. Then I will deal with the border radius of 10 pixels. Then also in my case, I will also deal with the font size. The font that is inside, I will just deal with the font size. Font size of let me call it let's call it 30 pixels. I'll also deal with margin left. I will also deal with margin left. In my case, a margin left. I'll give a margin left. Maybe a margin left of let's say 10 pixels. Yeah. Then I will also deal with my font weight in this case and font family. Font weight, I want a strong font weight. Then let me go with bold or 100. Yeah, 100. Then I will just go with a font family. Font family. Let me go with the serif one. Yeah. So maybe try to check what we have been doing. Try to check what we have been doing. And see if we are creating something or just what's happening over here. So let's wait for it. Maybe You can see it gave us numbers going down 1. So this is also something that we go back to our code and check. Let's go back to our code and check. Let's go back to our code and check. In this case, what happened? We gave it a height. Maybe try to do away with this one and check. Try to do with this one. So you can see, wow, there's something that is happening in our case. At least we can see the numbers. We can see something that we are doing. So in this case, allow me to move around with the margin left more so, margin left and margin top. So in our case, for the margin left, let me add some pixels, maybe 30. Control S. Then let me deal also with margin top. Sorry, margin top. I give it 10 pixels because we needed to fit in the center of our screen. Yeah, a margin top in our case. So you can see at least something is moving. Then I will land on font size. Maybe a 40 pixels. Maybe also I will land on font size and the border radius. Let me hand also on margin left. I need it to push the mid row of things. So you can see, maybe try to move it again and again. Try to move it again and again. Try to move it again and again. So in this case, I can try to play with the wing. You can see what happens. A wing over 20 px. And I move it maybe 50 pixels and save. You can see what happens. Now the wing is distracting on our side, so let's do away with it. So what should we do? Control S and check. In our case, so at least we got something that we can see. We got something that we can see. Then I'll just come and do let me deal with its border. In our case. Let me deal with its border. As we go with its border, I've got border. Maybe let's see the border. Then give it a 2 pixels. 2dx. Sorry. Then a yellow green one in our case and see how it will implement. So something happened inside. Maybe push it alongside on the left side. So this one that will work again with. So it's not reflecting well on our side. So let me do away with it. The border. Yeah, then let me give it a 50. 51 so in our case, we got this format of a simple calculator, and you can see now it's up to adding and maybe jogging around with our text and input field, so that at least we can see what we are keying in and around. So maybe I don't know why the linear graded didn't apply, but I can do something. Let me do something in our case and choose a color without a linear gradient and see how it works. So let me choose a color. Let me choose a color and try to do color with it in our case, so that maybe it can reflect or look alike to something that we want. Yeah, let's control S and try to check in our case. Wow. So you can see we got something of a different format, something that wants to look alike. Yeah, something that wants to look alike. We want just a simple calculator, something that tends to be and to look alike. So maybe now at a very fast run quick, let's give some functionality to our JavaScript code, because after all, what we want something maybe that will work well with our structure. We want something that maybe after we key in some things, we see what happens, because now we want the functionality of this JavaScript at the end. We want some functionality of JavaScript at the end. So I'll just come, in my case, I'll just come. Then I'll give a function now, an immediate function. To the cons that we were using, I'll just give an immediate function and how they appears and how we can do well with them. So I'll just come in my case and call some function. Call some function in my case. I'll just call some function. Just call some function, yeah. And then to this function that I call, we just call let's see, it's something that we used. We call it we are calling the main div that we are using. This is the screen, our input area. So we call it our field. So we are calling our field in this case. We are calling our field, then give it some functionality. Then inside it we give a value. We want the value after all. Then I have to close it. Then I have to give it some JavaScript function. Now here I will use a document.getElement by ID as I continue with it. So this case is document.getElement by ID. Document.getElement by ID in our case. GetElement by document.getElement by ID. Then inside it I have to have something like this. Then the string like then in this one I want to call let me say our text area field. So our text area field, we give it a name, we give it a class, our text. This was the field and the screen. Okay, well, so this one carries the field. This one carries the field. This one carries the screen. This one carries the screen. This one carries the screen. So we want after it to get this, we want to give it a dot value, because after all we want it to get the value. Then we'll give it is equals what we wanted to get at long last. We wanted to get something at the end. So after this I'll just come copy here, just quick method. I'll just collect copy, then I'll just place it here. So then this one will be plus this one will be plus val. So then I will close it. There's some JavaScript function in it. Then I will just continue and check what happens to our calculator now. Allow me to save first. I'll just use Ctrl S to save in this case, and then I'll just come to our calculator, let it roll. Maybe I can check if it's bringing letters on my side now. So I just want to take if it's bringing letters on my side, something else in this case, something else in this case, just calculate a bit. So I just come and just give some other functions again, because after all we want so this one will work well with so this one implies well with this area. It implies well with this area, because after all we want this area to work. So this one, then let me give them values first so that they can work on our side. So this one goes with C. This one goes with C. This one goes with 7. This one goes with 8. This one goes with 9. This one goes with X. This one goes with 4. The other one goes with 5. The other one goes with 6. The other one goes with plus. So I'll just also have this 1, 2, 3. This 1, 2, 3. This 1, 2, 2. This 1 to 1, just at a faster note. This one I'll give it a string value because I need it to be a minus. So in my case, I'll just give it so the single string works well. Point a minus inside. So a single string works well. The same case here, a single string for the dot. The same case here for a single string because of equals. The same case here. This one we a single string also for 0. So maybe we can control S and try to see what happens. We can control S and see if the same functionality is working on our state. Log, no, take some functionalities. Yeah, maybe I'll just come back to my JS function. Let me first finish with this one, then I'll give it then inside it I'll give it some functions. I'll do away with that one, so it's outside. Outside it I have to give some faster functions. Some faster functions. So I just need this statement. I just need this statement in my case. Then so is equals yeah. So I just come and give another function so quick. So I just come and give another function so that we can operate on other things. Then this one I have to use this one I will give a function to the end goal of our summation that we need, because after all it's something that we are implementing. So this one will go with a var, a text. Then I'll give it equals. Then I need this statement. I need this statement also because I need it to give me a final answer. So in my case, I'll just paste it. Then I will give a var of a result. A variation of result is equals to. I want to see how it works. Then I'll give it as text. And then At the end I will close it. At the end I will close it. Then here I have to get designing this statement up to this point. It's up to that point, up to this point. In my case, I will copy it for the final answer. Then I will paste it downwards. I will paste it downwards. Then after that, I want it to give me is equals. I want it to give me the result. The result. I want it to give me the result. So just try to play around with this one, the div in our area. So the div in our area. The div in our area. So divide div. So this one, use the body, the screen, maybe come and check. Maybe come and check CL. So come and check this case and see if there are some changes or something to happen. Yeah. Just come and then I'll have to save my JavaScript function. I'll have to save my JavaScript function and see what happens to our calculator in this case. So we got 4. When I click on 4, it works. When I click on 5, it works. So just try to click on C and see if it does away with it. See to see if it does away with it. To see if the C does away with it. So the C part. I want when I click on that value, it gives me an empty part. So maybe come and check. This one, it's not functional, but the numbers are functional. Maybe again, come and check onto my code. Document.get element by ID. In this case, give it a value, then a root value. Yeah, that one should be working as well. Then the same case when I press on equals, so maybe some functionality to the HTML. So to work with this one, to work with this one, maybe I needed to give it an asterisk in my case and check if it works. If it works on my case, I don't. Maybe control to save my code on HTML, maybe control S. Yeah, then I'll see how it reflects. So in this case, maybe to check on some other functions. This one I have to include the bar side so that it can work. The minor is working for this. Maybe anything else to check if it's working and check some other functionalities. So we need the final answer with our calculator. The final answer with our calculator so that we can check on what's happening, what's working and what's not working in our case. So at my case, I have to check on what's not happening. So maybe some function that I gave in this case. So for the C, yeah, for the C, then maybe some other function that I gave, the equals, it should be well on this case, the equals, maybe to check on 1, 2, 3. On my case, that it's wrong. So 7, the C should work. Yeah, wow. So you can see our case, the C function is working at my case. You can see, so maybe try to execute some functions, maybe time is 2, maybe, and try to check. So wow, so finally our calculator worked after a long time, and after just some big number of counts, it has finally worked. So at my case now, it has been a beginner level, which is HTML, CSS and JavaScript. If maybe I want to check maybe 78 and time is 10, 78 time is 10. So my case, I expect the answer to be 780. So you can see it's working well. It's giving us an answer of 780. Be to hand on some font size so that it can be a little bit clear as we end up in our case. So font size, and then hand it to 60. Then I will come just on our input area field. We just have to indicate on our font size, on the type of font size that I want in our input area field. So I want a font size of maybe 30 pixels. Then I will land on the height of 30. Let me land on a height of 40 pixels. Then I will Ctrl S to check what's happening, the reflection. So wow, but some code ran outside. So I will just come and onto our main div, I will hand some height. Let me give it a height of 400 at our case. Then save. Yeah, we are a little bit at the point. Let me hand it to sum up to 450. 450 as we end up. So wow, so we got a real calculator working well as we end up. So at least I have to do some mathematics with my own developed calculator. This is nice and amazing. From beginner level, that was HTML, CSS and JavaScript. Maybe I can do for you 60 times 100 to get 6,000 as we end. So that will conclude for us. 60 times 60 times 1,000. Let me say 60 times 60. 60 times 600 in our case to give us 36,000. So you can see our calculator is working well. If you divide and you plus also, or you minus, maybe let me say minus 1,000 or minus 36. Let me say minus 36,000 also to get a 0, so that we can confirm it's working. So you can see we got a 0. So that was an easy calculator. That was HTML, CSS and JavaScript. Welcome back again. We shall notify you of another session. Keep tuned, subscribe, and also keep on commenting to our videos. Thank you.